So I kind of had a media just overload of taking in Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. Vay. I listened to 3 of his books. 2 of his books I did Audible, and I read his most recent one, the Jab, Hook one. And the one that stood out the most, I think for the most part, is the Thank You Economy one. I thought that was great. I love the idea of the mom and pop, and he kind of talks about his intake of how, he grew up at a mom and pop for the most part when he came over when he was like, I think 3 or something, and his dad and them were running a liquor shop, and how they were a mom and pop business, and how he approached their store online as a mom and pop, and how that's what social media really is. It's going back to the mom and pop kind of care, how people know you and care for you. I grew up actually in a town, Seal Beach, a beach town sandwiched between Long Beach and Huntington, and very much was a small town feel. It had a lot of people, like 40,000 or something, but had a very small town atmosphere. And I love that you kind of knew people, familiar faces. And online is that idea. And so I found myself just, being a little bit more proactive with people after reading some of that stuff and that approach. And so something I started to do on Twitter was, respond to people with video messages when I can. So instead of just going, hey, thanks, going, hey, sending a video reply, it's kind of allowed me to be a little bit more extra, and I could just do it on my phone real quick. I started to search a little bit more proactively on Twitter on desktop. You have more options. Obviously, you can search Saddleback and, church tech, social media. Social media is a little too broad, but I'm just kind of going to people and seeing church online church, praying for other churches. And it's kind of made me want to be more proactive and going the extra mile. And I think obviously that's what social media is. You can be proactive. It's so easy to just kind of spit out information, but to use Gary language, hustle. And I just got done doing a podcast. Somebody who actually watches and is part of our online community, and I referenced Gary V, and she was a little surprised by it, and I was talking about how, I was thinking about Paul, how Paul knew the philosophies of his day, and he used that so that he can engage. And I think that's whoever it is. I don't care if it's sports or if it's television show, whatever the language of the day is. Right now it might be what's trending on Netflix or different media people. Gary Vee is one of those, he's a presence, and I think he's doing something good. Obviously, he's not preaching the gospel, but I think there's things he's talking about that can make me a more effective communicator. So I'm always looking for those people listening. I've been listening to Planet Money, the podcast, and there's something there. Serial's obviously a popular podcast, and I think there's something to that storytelling ability that I have to listen to, and I have to figure out, can I apply that to my church setting? So anyway, that's what I got going on. I'm trying out a little vlogging right now, so just going to put this up on YouTube and see what happens. So tell me what you think in the comment section.